Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last 7 days, I've been driving the 2025 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Turbo. Up front is a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent the last week driving the Mazda CX-5. I've done over 500 miles through some rather treacherous conditions here in Chicago and Michigan. And so we'll be talking about why this car has been my pick for the car to buy for the last several years and why it continues to be so. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you would like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2.5-liter turbo under the hood. Well, that is the upgrade engine for the Mazda CX-5. You can find Mazda CX-5s with the standard naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It makes about 191 horsepower. This makes 227, or you can bump it up to 255 on premium gas. Here's the thing, folks. Even on premium gas, I don't notice a huge difference. Is it more power? Yes. But is it going to throw you back in your seat? No. Is it going to shock you or wow you? Not really. And so for reliability reasons, I always urge people to get the naturally aspirated 2.5. It's been in production for well over a decade and a half. They've been known to go 200, 300,000 miles, and the only issues they've had has been a thermostat issue and a cylinder deactivation issue, both of which were fixed with recalls. So that would be my way to go, but the turbo is nice, I guess. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic. In the modern era, this is a rather low amount of gears, but again, it's a tried and true transmission that they've been using for a very long time. I haven't heard, seen, or experienced any issues with it, so I'll take it. Last but not least, the Mazda CX-5 is exclusively all-wheel drive. You can't buy a front-wheel drive CX-5 anymore, although in the earlier half of this generation, you could. So if you get a 2017, 18, 19, 20, or 21, you could still find them with front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Mazda CX-5? Well, this is going to be heavily opinionated. It does have a little bit harsher of a ride than its competitors like the CR-V or the RAV4. Now, in return, I prefer that slightly harder ride because it does give you a little bit better performance. It feels a little bit more sturdy around corners and during spirited drives. But if you're not a person who enjoys driving, it's just a point A to point B, the competition might suit you a little bit better. Visibility is good, steering isn't too heavy, and I really enjoy CX-5s. I've driven, I can't even remember, I'll put the number up on the screen, how many I've reviewed at least, of this generation, and I've always liked it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a mix of physical and digital gauges. Off to the left, we have a tachometer. In the center, we get our digital screen. We can switch this around with a couple different options, as well as we do get our average MPG to the left, and compass and fuel till empty off to the right, of which I've been averaging almost 24 miles to the gallon with the turbo. And off to the right, we have our coolant temperature and fuel. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our volume, mute, skip track info, and phone options. And off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise control settings. I've always liked this. Mazda has a pretty good adaptive system, and I have a lot of trust in it. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent. We have our tailgate release, lane keep assist on and off, camera view, and parking sensors. Moving out of the door, we have power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have our infotainment system. The standard Mazda infotainment system is not touchscreen. However, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are touchscreen when you are stopped, or I believe it's below 5 miles an hour. So when you're driving, you can't use the touchscreen, but you can at slow or stopped speeds. And it is wireless Apple CarPlay. I've really enjoyed that. And it is piped through the Bose sound system, which won't blow you away. It's not the best system on the market, but it is a very welcomed upgrade over the standard Mazda audio systems. Down below, we have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch, and then we have our climate controls. I like how concise these are. It does have heated and ventilated seats. The ventilated seats have not been touched touched this week, and we have dual zone climate, which is always welcome to see. Down below, we do have a 12-volt outlet and a wireless charger. This wireless charger in my testing has been useless. On a 4-hour drive, my phone went up 2%. I'm not kidding. I drove to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and my phone went up 2% the entire time. Down below that, we do have the shifter, as well as our drive modes for off-road, sport, and normal. We have our power parking brake and auto holding brake, our selector for the center screen. When it is not a touch screen, you use this, and I think it has good tactile feedback. I think it works well, but I understand a lot of people don't like this system. We have the volume off to the right, which I wish got the feature from the Mazda 3 and Mazda CX-50, where you could skip track with it, but this is just for the volume. And then we have cup holders that fail the big friggin' bottle test, wah, wah, wah. Then we do have a center console with 2 USB-Cs as well as a 12-volt outlet. And the seats. The seats are finished in terracotta, which I actually really like. I really like the pop of color that they add to the interior, and they're not light tan seats or white seats, which dirty up so quickly. They also have black inserts, so they're not completely terracotta. They're just this nice little stroke of color to fill the interior, which is nice to see in a CX-5. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2025 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Turbo, and a couple of things to note. First of all, my knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head's not hitting the ceiling. This has gone unchanged since this car debuted in 2017. I fit in the back. I'm very comfortable, and I've been in the back of so many CX-5s, and it's the same story across the board. Now, personally, I would have liked to have seen rear heated seats. That is available on the signature trim levels, but not here on the Carbon Turbo, and it is freezing today, so it's just a personal preference to make my life better, but I'm not complaining. The terracotta does carry on back here as well. Nice to see that touch, but overall, it's a good back seat. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks, but I gotta get bundled up first. All right, around the back of the CX-5, Carbon Turbo, big button there, if I can hit it with my giant gloves. Power tailgate, love to see that. And here we have the rear storage space. Nothing really too crazy to write home about. We do have a button here to lower the second row. We have a 12-volt outlet, and that's pretty much it. You can pull this up, and that is your Bose subwoofer, or subwoofer equivalent, I should say. And there you go. That is the rear cargo space of the CX-5. I've always thought it was rather plentiful. I've never really had an issue with it, so here it is on the Carbon Turbo. Come up here, quick button for that, and it goes right back down. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is finished in Zircon Sand Metallic. It is not a new color to Mazda, but it is new for the CX-5. I believe also the ND Miata is getting it this year or last year. It's a really nice color. It's sort of this sage green, which was very in a couple of years ago. I think it adds a little bit of contrast. It's not another dark blue metallic CX-5, or it's not the Soul Red metallic CX-5, or white or black. It is a nice differentiation of color. It's the first one I've reviewed in this color. I think the overall CX-5 is pretty handsome. However, it has been on sale since 2017, so I think it is getting towards that time of maybe a new body style. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving yet another Mazda CX-5? I have driven every single model year of this generation of CX-5. It is one of my most reviewed vehicles here on the Shooting Cars channel, and there's good reason for that. I love this thing. I love the CX-5. Here's why I think it's better than the competition. The interior is a lot nicer of a place to be than the Toyota RAV4. It just feels higher quality and is just more pleasing to the eye, especially with the terracotta seats. With the 4-cylinder NA, it's going to be a lot more reliable than the Honda CR-V. They've been having some 1.5 turbo issues. And it does not have a CVT like both the RAV4 and CR-V. I think it's more handsome than a Subaru Crosstrek or Subaru Forester. Again, I don't love Forester interiors, and I don't love how they drive, again, with the CVT. This thing kicks the crap out of the Nissan Rogue. in my opinion. The Rogue has a nicer interior, but the CX-5 has a better engine and better build quality, and their company isn't almost bankrupt, so that's good. And I'm not even going to compare this to the American competitors. And to just push it a little bit further, while I had this vehicle, I brought it up to Grand Rapids. In a snowstorm, I was hit by 2 snow squalls, which a snow squall, if you're not from a snowy state, is where it just blizzards out of nowhere for a few minutes, cuts down on visibility, and then it leaves. I also hit black ice several times, and it has been under 32 degrees the entire week that I've had it. And in that time, driving through these treacherous conditions, I have felt very safe. The car handled the weather way better than I did. I was white-knuckling it the whole way, and yet I didn't really need to. This car is sturdy, it's well built, and it's confidence-inspiring, just like the Miata was back in the 90s. It makes you feel like a better driver than you are. And so I will trust my safety with Mazda time and time again. There's a reason I own a Mazda 3. It was the more affordable, smaller option to the CX-5. There's a reason I keep coming back to this car. There's a reason I love it, and there's a reason why I recommend it to all of my friends looking for a new vehicle. I have yet to find a CX-5 that hasn't done well for me. I have yet to find a CX-5 that has been unacceptable. I have yet to find a CX-5 that disappointed me. And so sure, it might not be the flashiest, craziest, coolest car in the whole wide world, but it works. And it works so dang well that I love it. I truly, truly love it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Mazda for letting me borrow their Mazda CX-5 for the last week and getting back into the seat of one of my favorite vehicles. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle, and of course, the Midwestern Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.